Hello, hello, hello. So I hope everybody's having a great weekend. It's the 25th of August, 2013. This is 50 pips. I'm not making any trade calls or recommendations. Everybody's responsible for their own trades, and the fact that you're listening to this means you've read, you understand, you accept all the disclosures and disclaimers here on the website. Understanding that we're doing this just for some educational purposes only. I'm looking at the charts before the week starts, and I'm just sharing that with you. So first of all, keep in mind that we've got some data next week, but the real big releases and stuff come in 2 weeks' time. So basically, that's coming on the week of 1st of September. Well, we'll see likely more flows coming in, and that's really going to be the big week, but we'll talk about that in the next update. So this week, the big thing going into the week is to watch out for, especially on Euro, is the German IFO on Tuesday. That's going to be a big interesting thing. Then we've got pending home sales. We got unemployment claims out of the States. So it'll pick up, but for Euro, at least the main focus is going to be IFO. So I'm going to keep this short, hopefully do it as quick as possible, and concise. So first thing, I'm just going to point at a couple of things that might be interesting to keep an eye out for. On CAD, something you want to keep an eye out for is the 105 level, very big level. If you look at this even on the daily, right, we're pressing high. We had a big retracement, caught very aggressively, and then bam, we're trying to take these highs. So it's really a key level. What this means is that what to watch going into the week is as long as we hold above this whole 105 level, this is a big pivotal level, market will most likely try to take a stab at these highs into the 106s, okay? And if into the week we can't hold above these 105s, I'd expect us to come back down, test these 104.20s, and then should we break down the 103. So I suspect the market will likely be positioned, wait and see here, people holding their positions, shorts waiting to fade, any failure here, longs looking to fade here, looking to fade more aggressively, 103.50. So clearly this is going to be an interesting level to keep an eye out for. Silver, a lot of people ask me about silver. We don't usually look at silver on the Sundays, but basically as far as we're concerned, we're looking at this consolidation here at lows as a chance to get long for a move back into the 26s. Actually got a lot of interesting chances to get back long here as we were basing at these lows. We also had this 50 back here that held. You see all these bullish closes here, and then bam, we moved right back up. You probably saw me tweeting about the 2020s being pivotal, right? And once we broke through the 2020s straight into the 2140s, bam, just kept on going out. Now the questions is, last week I kept on saying, watch out, it looks like buyers are still supporting. A lot of people were getting extremely bearish simply because we got this daily this reversal candle here on the daily, but you saw the following days the buyers kept on coming in, right, holding it well above this previous support here. So again, now as long as we keep on coiling higher, for me the 2480s is the next big test. This was a big level, and if we break, that's that's going to be likely the last barrier for a move back into the 26s. On any sell-off this week, I think the most interesting level to keep an eye out for is going to be, are these buyers, where you see these wicks, are these buyers still there? If not, 2480s pivotal for a move back up into the 26s. Gold, we talked about the range shift. All the guys following know I'm looking for this to range shift. We're from the break below the 1200s. We said we expected people to look back on this at the end of the year and say, wow, that was a bargain price. We're looking at this hold here. We were trading 1400, 1300, 1200. We're looking for this whole rotation to be a range shift for a possible move all the way back into 1500s. If you want to see the whole detail when we discuss that, you can look back on one of the other videos, but basically going into the week, 1400 pivotal. As long as we hold below, then there's a chance that we see 1350s, but I think the levels to watch, 1350, 1400 and 1450, that's going to be what I'm looking at for the week. But again, in the previous videos we discussed it in a bit more detail. Another thing you might want to keep an eye out for, it's not one of my favorites, but just USD CHF. I think if these are two zones where I'd expect to see possible SMB wheeling and dealing, so buy interest here. So the only thing I wanted to mention is if we sell off, keep an eye out for this first zone into these 9140s, and then should we break lower, watch for action here, especially if you get some kind of fake out, a long wick, and then you start to see action like this. You probably don't want to stay stubbornly short. Most of my followers know I'm not a big fan of fighting central banks, but I think especially if we break below, I think the 91 will most likely be defended, or we'll see some kind of semi-official interest, I suspect, protecting that. So just something to keep in mind. Now, Euro JPY, a very nice action. We've been discussing this for a long time. We've been discussing about the importance of these 128s and how the fact that as long as we couldn't get any traction below here, we'd expected 130.50s to be the the line in the sand for bull bear action. And again, second time we came back down, got bought very aggressively here. Very nice hold, kept on going. Watch out, 30.50s pivotal for action. If we break above, as long as we get a daily close above, we'd expect the 132s to come very quickly. And you see the sellers were coming in, keeping it below, kept on closing below this level. Once we closed above, bam, straight into the 132s. So going into this week, and especially, probably IFO could be something to watch, but it's all about these 132s here. As long as we hold above the 132s, I'm looking for us to continue to try and take a stab at these previous highs and potentially move into 135s. So if we get sold, then these lows back into 128s is the low range. But interesting level here. Very interesting level. Maybe IFO is going to give us some clues. In terms of the, let's finish this and we'll do Aussie chart that's on the blog. Again, this is very interesting in terms of we could be putting in a possible bottom here. The level to watch are 90 and 91s, right? What we've been saying is as long as we're inside this zone, this is a bit of a chop zone, and you want to watch for daily closes outside. As you see, even last week, we didn't manage to close below on Friday, and you see this action, you see these buyers coming in, supporting every chance the market gets to smash it down here. The buyers are coming in. So as long as we close above these 90s, I'd expect to be chop action inside 90, 91, but to hold a bullish tone, okay? Back on the 4-hour, we discussed the possibility. Some people are big fans of talking about, inverse head and shoulders or whatnot. You were not a huge fan of those patterns, but definitely, right? As long as we hold and we get a daily close above 91s, I'd expect 93.50s to potentially come quite quickly. On strong sell-off, keep an eye on those lows, see how we behave. But clearly an interesting chart. Now, another one just quickly, NZD-USD sold hard again, played out very nicely. Once we broke outside this top of this weekly range, we expected us to try and take a stab at 81.80s. We said if we can't get a close above, we expect us to come right back down. That's exactly where we are. This is confluence with the 200-week moving average. Very, very key level. The bears do not want to see this pop higher, and the bulls do not want to see this starting to close back below 77, 70, 77.50s, okay? What else have we got here? Before doing euro and cable, let's look at indexes quickly. Just DAX, very nice choppy action. Not too interested for me. Basically, we filled that slightly open gap here the other day. What we said is just it's big chop, and the only thing is we said you don't want to be stubbornly long before we break out here, and you don't want to get stubbornly short before we break out, because this is basically just a range play. You're looking to sell highs and you're looking to buy lows, right? And the other thing we said, should we break below the 82.10s, watch out, there's massive support here. Never got a chance to break below, rotated all the way back up. So what I'm looking for the week is still these famous or infamous 83.60s to provide a guide. So we could still see selling coming into the high range, trying to press this and just keep it in range. And on any sell-off, watch to see how price behaves here at a pivotal level. But if we break higher, as I said, from this whole consolidation here, I expect us, we'd see right back up at highs, okay? And the ES, again, very nice action. We got this nice fake out here. You got a reversal candle right at these lows on this 1 hour. Very nice trading action, and we're pressing higher now. What I expect the week to be about, and that's where we were tweeting. We said back above those 1640s, we could see the 60s come very, very quick. Now, so what I'm looking at here, I suspect a lot of bears didn't expect us to see grind higher so aggressively. So far, we're seeing some selling coming in here. You've got another line here with some selling, but that's not the huge focal point. The huge focal point is how we behave into these 1660s. Okay, if you go back even on a 4-hour chart, it's maybe a bit easier to see the importance of these 6660s and 1666s into 1671s. And because this is that zone that got bid up aggressively for that final press higher into those new highs, so this is very strong support. Saw a lot of buyers here. So, and when we came through, these buyers didn't materialize, and it was just knife through butter. Okay, so what you want to watch here is if we come back into here, we see responsive selling, we see aggressive selling, capping it below even the 1666s into 1675s. Then the shorts are going to have a chance to try and smack this back down. But if we start to close, you get a daily close back above 1675s, then I'd expect those 95s to come relatively quickly. Okay, so those are the levels I'd be watching for this week for the ES. And last but not least, let's look at Euro and Cable. So Euro and Cable, just those weeklies I posted that, we said if there's a place where these are likely to get capped, at least interim is the 34s for Euro, a confluence with that 200 week, and that's exactly where we started finding resistance last week. And on Cable, it was again ahead of those 5750s, that 200 on the weekly, massive level for Cable. So here you got a negative close on the weekly. A lot of people might be getting a bit excited because of that. I think keep in mind, I think it's a bank holiday tomorrow in the UK, so we're going to have possibly some choppy action. So I think the interesting things, at least, is on Euro, is that we're stuck in this range, right? And as far as I'm concerned, there's no change to the outlook. It's still, broadly speaking, right now we're 136, 134, 132. The rotation that we were looking at, we were trading from 128s into 134s, is done. And now this is where the market needs to look for direction. So again, IFO will likely be an interesting data point, but I think we really need that week of the 1st of September. We've got all the central banks speaking, etc., etc. But we'll discuss that next Friday. So here, watch into the week how we behave. I think as long as we through the IFO, we get a pop, we go back into the 34, 40 something. As long as we don't close above the 35s, then this could stay capped and we could be choppy sideways trading inside this broader range, maybe 35, 33s all the way into the week of the 1st of September. But if we just trigger stops above 35s, then I'd expect those 136 to come very, very quickly. Equally, if we trigger stops below 133s, I expect the 132s could come very quickly. But at the moment, we're still stuck in this chop zone, as the chart highlighted. The chart is on the blog. We discussed this, but clearly holding a bid tone, bullish rotation still in play. And then we've got, last but not least, Cable. Let's just look at it on the chart we're looking at on the long setups into those 157 40s that completed. What you want to focus on here is that, as we said, we've got these 155 80s, which are really pivotal. Now it looks like this 200-day is capping to the downside, and that's pretty much coming in at 155.00. So as long as that holds, I expect us to trade with some kind of a bid tone, and those highs are going to attract. The key thing is, remember, to the upside, this is where we got that 200 week. If we break above that and we get a weekly close above 57.50s, then that I would expect us to see a strong attempt to move back into the 60s, 163s possibly, okay? Now, to the downside, it's all about short-term, these 155s, and if we break back below the 155s, especially on a daily close basis, then I'm probably think that the market short-term will take a stab at these dip lows, but ultimately the shorts will probably be hunting these 52.60s if they manage to get through this dip. So these are the two big supports to look at going into the week. Okay, so I hope that was good. I hope everybody has a great end of the weekend, great end of the day. If you like the content, don't be shy about sharing it. That would be excellent. Again, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I think it's a public holiday in the UK. Europe is still open. We've got some data points. I hope everybody has a great week, and thanks for listening. Talk to you guys soon. See you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.